Boys, good evening. Tomoatosaucin here, and tonight, what I've got for you is an absolutely, completely in-depth Wrath of the Lich King Ulduar tier list for not just melee DPS, not just the tanks, not just the healers, but the range DPS too. We're going to go over everybody. We're going to go over every single class in Wrath of the Lich King Classic as we move into Phase 2. This is a Phase 2 Wrath of the Lich King Classic tier list. We're going to start out with the Death Knights, but before we do, let me tell you something, all right? I'm going to tell you something right now. If you haven't clicked subscribe to this channel, look into my eyes, look deep into my eyes. I'm looking into your soul. If you have not clicked subscribe to this channel yet, missing out. That's it. I don't have to oversell myself. You're missing out. Almost 2,000 people cannot be wrong. Click subscribe today to get more Wrath of the Lich King updates as we move throughout the phases. And on top of that, we're going to be pumping out Dragonflight content as well, because I'm doing that on the side, right? I don't have a ton of time between family, career, children, Wrath of the Lich King, now Dragonflight. We don't sleep a lot anymore, all right? Click that subscribe button today. Now here we go, boys. Phase 2, Ulduar. It's coming out. The first real raid that we'll encounter in Wrath of the Lich King Classic. And we're going to start it out by ranking the blood DKs. And I'm going to tell you something. What you're going to see out of blood DK in Ulduar is nothing short of absolutely stupendous. I will not give the S tier ranking lightly. Blood Death Knight is absolutely absurd. Just absurd. It only gets better in Ulduar, right? Where paladins fall off a little bit, they scale well with gear, and we're getting higher eye level gear. But you know who scales really well next tier, and now will scale even better with this higher item level that they're giving out? Blood Death Knights. Blood DK, if you're playing a Blood DK, you're in a good spot. We're going to go into Frost. Frost is a great class. It is great. But it's not Blood. It's not Blood tier, and I'm going to tell you, it's not even Unholy tier. Isn't this absurd that the Death Knight class in Wrath of the Lich King, they're a trio of almost perfection. You got Blood DKs as the best tanks in Ulduar. You've got Unholy DKs. People say they're going to fall off a little bit, right? Because the fights are a little bit longer. I'm going to let you know, I don't know how long these fights really are going to be. The worst case for an Unholy Death Knight would be a fight that's like 2 minutes and 59 seconds or 3 minutes and 3 seconds, right? Where you don't get a second Gary out, or you get him out, but he doesn't even have time to really do anything for you. Any fight shorter than that and any fight longer than that, Unholy is going to be absolutely obliterating. If you want to play a class that's going to scale well throughout the entirety of Wrath of the Lich King, it'll be the king of single target DPS probably the entire way through. Unholy Death Knight is that class. Frost, I can't say it's not too far behind it, because for certain fight lengths it is, but Frost is going to be coming up this tier. It's not going to be S tier, but it is definitely an A tier melee specialization. If you don't like the snapshotting of the gargoyle, if you just think that's not for me, Frost Death Knight is a ton of fun, and it pumps, and it's going to get very, very good in this tier. So you got your Death Knight rankings, S's and A tiers everywhere. Now, this goes into Boomkin, and what I'm going to do with Boomkin might upset some people. I don't think it's an S tier specialization. I think it's A tier, though. Now, where you're going to see Boomkin really fill a role here is as guilds start kind of shedding their Shadow Priests, because you don't need 2 Shadow Priests in the raid anymore, right? Because Instructor Resuvius is not a part of the content. You're going to see Boomkin stock go up. So Boomkin, it's already an A tier specialization, but I think it solidifies its role in the A tier throughout Ulduar. Maybe it falls off towards the end, the next phases of content, but Boomy is still solidly in the A tier. Feral, there's really an argument to be made here, right? So I'm going to rank Feral and Guardian together in the A tier, but really, Feral and Guardian could be S tier because for speed running meta guilds, right, their off tank the majority of the time is going to be a Feral Guardian Druid, because a lot of the fights in Ulduar are still one tank fights. Maybe you have 4 fights, I think it is, where you need 2 tanks. But when you're in that kind of situation, right, are you going to bring a Paladin who isn't even going to do as much damage as they do in Nax because a lot of the stuff isn't undead? You don't have the giant AoE pulls that Paladin is so good at either. We're talking pure single target threat in Ulduar on these bosses. And if that's what we're talking about, Blood DK and Feral Guardian Druid, I mean, they kind of go together like cocaine and waffles at that point. So I'm going to rank these guys in the A tier together. An argument could be made for S, but Feral and Guardian Druid have an extremely high stock. The only problem is you don't want to stack these guys, right? So Feral DPS is going to go through the roof next tier. But still, right? You're not going to stack Feral Druids. Just not going to happen. There are other DPS that are going to outdo it. So your unholy DKs, your assassination rogues, those guys are going to still be doing more than Feral Druids. Frost DKs and Ferals are going to be pretty damn close as well. So, you have options. You don't have to stack Ferals, but you will have one in every raid, and that guy will probably have a bear off spec as well. Resto Druid. Listen, Resto Druid's a good healer. There's nothing wrong with it. I just think in Ulduar, it's probably about a C tier healer. I really think currently it's about, B at best. I'll be nice. I'll give Resto Druid B tier. It doesn't belong in C tier. It's definitely a B tier specialization. You're gonna have a lot of overhealing because, again, even in Ulduar, until you get to the hard modes, which a lot of those are really just DPS checks, you're not gonna have a ton to heal. The Resto Druid makes a few fights nicer, but really a Discipline Priest, a Holy Paladin, and my personal favorite, the trio there would be a Resto Shaman for me. It would be hard for me to take a Resto Druid over a Resto Shaman, but they're kind of interchangeable, I guess. Let's go right into Beast Mastery Hunter and drop it right in the D tier. D stands for do not bring me to a fucking raid. So Beast Mastery ain't coming today. It ain't coming tomorrow. And it ain't coming phase 2 of Ulduar. But you know whose stocks start rising? Are Marksman Hunters. So Marksman Hunters are actually going to get a little bit better in Ulduar. Some say they may even overtake Survival in DPS. But, that remains to be seen. Survival Hunter, I would put it about the same tier as Marksman. I personally like Survival Hunters more than Marksman Hunters. I just think Survival offers a little bit more advantages to the raid. But I think Hunter, listen, you're going to have 1 or 2 Hunters in every raid. You're going to bring them. They're not entirely mandatory, but the MDs are nice. The mana regen that Survival brings is nice. So, they're here. They're here to stay. But are they on like Feral Druid, Frost DK, Boomy tier? I personally don't think so. So I keep them in the B tier over here. Arcane Mage. Arcane Mage is firmly in the middle. They're going to do good DPS still in Ulduar because I don't predict the fights to be super long. I think we are doing way more damage than people were in the original Wrath of the Lich King. We are absolutely smashing the content out. So you're going to have your Arcane Mages being firmly in the middle of the pack. Obviously, you want them, Curse Dispels, Arcane Intellect, Mage Food, the list goes on. They have a lot of good utility. So you're always going to bring a mage to a raid. And then Fire actually starts getting playable towards the end of Ulduar, right? Your crit gets high enough where you can actually, manage some crit and hit. and you can start playing fire towards the end. Fire is going to jump way up to the S tier by the end of this expansion, but right now, I think fire and arcane are kind of together in the B tier. They're in a good spot, right? B does not stand for bad. It's middle of the pack. You're on a good spec. You know, it's not bad, right? D stands for don't bring. B stands for not bad. So you guys in the middle, right? You're not A or S, but you're in the middle. Frost Mage, D. Full D. D for absolutely drop this class from your raid. This is a PvP spec and PvP only. If you raid on Frost, you know, maybe the Arcane Blast rotation is too difficult for you. Yeah, let's get rid of the Frost Mages from you know, the raids. Holy Paladin. What can I say about Holy Paladin that hasn't been said by every content creator, you know, on the planet at this point? A great fucking healer. You're gonna bring Holy Paladins. Not only are you gonna bring them, but they're gonna be the base of your entire raid. They're massive. They're incredible. Prop Paladins firmly in the A tier. This is again my opinion. Could it be argued that Prop Paladin is an S tier tank? Sure, it could, but I'm not gonna argue that. I think Prop Paladins are A tier. I think Blood DKs are S tier, and I think your secondary tank, right? You decide to bring either a Prop Paladin or a Feral Druid. If you're like a massive meta guild, right? That's speed running the content in an hour or whatever, you're going to go the Feral Druid route. If you're just, you know, a guild of average gameplay Andes having fun, you're going to probably bring a Prop Paladin. And then if you're me, you're going to bring the Pro Warrior. But, you know, Pro Warrior is not A or S tier, unfortunately, but we will get there. Don't worry, boys. Rep Paladin, firmly in the C tier. It's actually worse. It's going to perform worse in Ulduar than it did in Nax. You have way more undead mobs in Nax to you know, get more bang for your buck from in Rep Paladin. I don't know what content creators sold you guys Rep Paladins, but you need to take your money back, take your subscriptions back, unlike those videos, give them a downvote, whatever, right? Rep Paladin, absolutely a travesty. It's C tier at best. It really should almost be in BM tier, but Rep Paladin is that bad. But it's okay, though. You guys got Holy Paladin and Prop Paladins. You guys have some great specs that you can choose from. This one just ain't one of them. Somebody sold you guys Snake Oil. Happens to the best of us. Disciplined Priest, firmly in the S tier. It will stay in the S tier for the entire expansion. Just a great healer overall. You don't know how good Discipline is until you have one in your raid. I'll say that. It's incredible. Your PI and your casters. You have shields. They're massive. Disc Priest is incredible. It's right up there with Holy Paladin. You want them both in every single raid. Holy Priest, I put Holy on Ret tier. It's good, but right? Wouldn't you rather be Discipline? Wouldn't you rather be Unholy DK than play melee Ret Paladin? You would. So you can bring Ret and you can bring Holy, but you know, why would you, right? So play Discipline or play a different melee DPS because you have the ability to do that. This game is very easy. Shadow Priest, boys. Shadow Priest. I'm going to keep him in the middle. I'm going to keep him in the middle. I'm going to keep him towards the end of the middle, right? Really, I could move Boomkin here. And I could move Frost DK here. I think this row is accurate if we're doing left to right rankings. This row, you know, I would put Survival ahead of Marks. I would put Hunters ahead of Mages this tier too. Shadow Priest towards the back of the B tier, I think. I think this makes the most sense for Shadow Priest. Listen, here's the problem with Shadow Priest. You needed 2 in every raid for Resuvius or a healer to respec Shadow. You don't anymore, right? So your stock's dropping. You're not scaling as well as a Boomkin. You know, you got Survival Hunters and Marksman Hunters that are scaling well. Survival's bringing a mana buff for the crew. Shadow, I don't think you guys are bringing a lot, right? At that point, might be time to play some Discipline. if you're able to, right? If your raid doesn't already have a discipline priest, but you're in the middle, right? You're not bad. You're just the end of not bad. Elemental shaman. I'm going to say every raid wants one. They probably don't, but I'm going to keep elemental in it. I know that they don't scale as well as other classes, and I know they've probably already reached the peak for their PvE prowess in this expansion, but maybe, just maybe, the higher eye level Ulduar gear brings these guys a little bit closer to the sun, right? I'm going to keep elemental in the middle tier. It could be Ret Holy tier, but I don't think we're there yet. I really don't. Enhancement Shaman, you are firmly in the A tier. And really, I would put you all the way ahead of Frost DK in the A tier. I'll put Boomy at the end of A tier, really. Elemental Shaman, Spell Hands, and I think in Ulduar with the increased item level, you'll see the melee Shaman come online as well. I just think enhancement, you got some good things to look forward to. Are you really ahead of Frost DKs? Yeah, I think you are. I think you are next year. I'm going to keep enhancement right where I have it. I don't think so. I think Frost DKs are going to be ahead of enhancement shamans. But here's what puts enhancement ahead of Frost. Are you ready for this? If you're running with a blood tank who is already bringing the Frost buff, right? This guy might be throwing because he could be playing Unholy Morb. So enhancement is ahead of Frost because the Frost guy, even though he's playing this spec because he loves Frost DK, it's his favorite spec on the planet, but it's not Morb Unholy. So, you know, go fuck yourself. You know what I'm saying? All right, Resto Shaman. Firmly in the B tier with Elemental Shaman. I'll put it up. I'll put it ahead of these DPS. I said Resto Shaman and Resto Druid are kind of interchangeable. I think it's high B tier. It's right up there with Resto Druid. I don't think you have a bad healer in Wrath of the Lich King. Even Holy is not bad. It's just that Disc is so much better. Shaman doesn't have the same, the same benefits that Priest has, having 2 specs. So I think it's firmly in the middle of the pack. Not bad. You know what I mean? You're going to clear content with it. You'll be okay. Affliction Warlock, however. Did S or A? I think it's S. But I'm going to put it high. I think it's high A. And here's why. It's S. That's why. It's actually S. It's not high A. It is S. I'll put it at the back of the S because you could knock out Ulduar without an AF lock. But if you have an AF and a demo lock in your raid, I got to put demo ahead of AF personally. I think demo is better bang for your buck than affliction because you need one in the raid and they absolutely pump. I don't know who said demo locks aren't pumping in Wrath, but they're devastating. They have incredible AoE. It's probably the most fun Warlock spec I've ever seen played in any iteration of the game. They have a melee warrior charge. Craziness. Demo and AF, I would actually throw in the S tier for Ulduar. These 2 classes are going to continue to pump. You're going to see good things from both of them. I'm putting Demo ahead of AF because Demo buffs the raid and AF begs for tricks of the trade buffs. So Demo brings something to the table. AF is begging. That's where I'm at with Demo and AF. Destro. I'm going to put you in C because you have Demo and AF. You're not a don't bring. You do good damage, right? But you're definitely a C because just like Rep Paladin, they should be playing Holy or Prot. Just like Holy Priest, they could play Disc or Shadow. You could play 2 S tier Warlock specializations, but you choose to do like 12% less DPS for whatever ungodly reason. Yeah, that's where I'm at with Destro. Keep it in the arena. It's an arena spec. Arms Warrior. Fury Warrior, firmly in the B tier, right? Firmly in the B tier. Fury's in a great spot. It's getting better. The increased item level is going to help Fury out. I'll even move it ahead of mages. I think it's going to outperform mages in Ulduar. Abyss, Fury Warrior, and Ulduar with this increased item level is going to be absolutely slapping. And it'll be nice because you guys will have a lot of... you guys will all be able to play Fury because you'll have combat rogues bringing the arms buff. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry to all the warriors that tune in for this content. I tried to make arms work. Maybe we'll be able to pull some kebab magic out of our hat. But not in Ulduar. So let's go into Prot Warrior. Prot Warrior, I'm going to put at the end of the B tier. You have so many better tank options to take than a warrior, but a warrior is not going to stop your raid from progressing through Ulduar. I play Prot Warrior. I have Undying on my warrior. I also play Arms and I play Fury, right? I played Warrior forever now. But you know, it's not in the best spot right now. It's definitely not in the best spot right now. I'll put it over Elemental Shamans because Warrior, hey, listen, you're getting Sunders, you're getting Thunderclaps, you're getting Demo Shouts. I mean, you save a lot of GCDs in your raid by bringing a Prot Warrior. So if you want to save your raid some GCDs, bring a Prot Warrior, all right? Or join my GDKPs that I'll be tanking on my Undying Prot Warrior. It's a good class. It's just, it's not as good as, you know, Blood DK, Prot Paladin, Barrel Druid. You know, it's not there yet. And it might not ever be there this expansion, unfortunately, but it's not going to stop you from clearing any content. Protection Warrior is definitely still good. I have like 85% baseline avoidance as well as being defense capped on my Prot Warrior. I'm a brick wall. It's just, you know, for magic abilities, Prot Paladin mitigates it better. Blood DK is really the king. Feral Druid is great because they have that flexibility of DPS and tank specialization. When Fury Warrior comes online more, you could have somebody that, in my opinion, plays at a very high level, flexing between Fury and Prot for like a speed running guild. But I don't think we're there yet in Ulduar, but who knows? Maybe Alondo will prove me wrong. Assassination Rogue, I think is firmly in the S tier. Combat is firmly in the A tier. And Subtlety is firmly in the don't bring tier. Bring it to Arena. Now, these 4 specs, well, these 3 specs, BM don't bring anywhere. You could bot on BM if you guys like botting, you know, like Honor Buddy and that kind of stuff. You could bot on your BM Hunter. But yeah, don't play BM. There's way better choices up here than, you know, Beast Mastery Hunter. But as you can see, right, our D tier is actually just our Arena tier, right? So bring all these classes to Arena, and really you could bring BM to Arena with Beast Cleave. It only won a BlizzCon, so it's definitely good for Arena play. These are your Arena specs, and these are your rating specs up above. I tried not to stack the S tier too much. There could be an argument made to bring Affliction down a tier, keeping Demo and everything else up here, though. Yeah, I mean, you know, I tried to stay true to the tier list, right? Your biggest row in a tier list should be the middle row. You know, S should usually be a little bit more exclusive, but there are a lot of great classes in Wrath of the Lich King. So that's where I think we're at. Assassination Rogue is going to be incredible. You know, it's going to continue to scale. You know, you have the increased eye level is actually going to turn on Assassination Rogue just as well as it'll turn on any of these other classes. You know, the majority of the damage is poisons, but those daggers that are dropping at like 252 eye level now, 1.4s, they're going to be really, really nice for Assassination Rogue. Combat's going to continue to scale really, really well. It's just not going to quite catch Assassination yet. You're going to bring your combat rogues, though, for sure, because you want one in every raid to bring the Arms Warrior debuff. Yeah, it's called the Arms Warrior debuff, all right? You guys are just bringing it until Arms can come back into the raid. Well, boys, that's the tier list. If you made it this far, this is my opinion on a full breakdown of every class in Ulduar. I appreciate you guys for hanging out. Have a nice day. Have a nice night. Have a nice week. Have a nice month. And have a great year. We're almost to the new year. It's almost 2023. Guys, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for being a part of this growing channel. Tomoatosaucin out.